Hey guys, and welcome back. We were able to keep things rolling yesterday over at our main website, stumpthespread.com, as our top confidence premium plays in the college basketball tournament went 5-0 against the spread, and that marks a 15-2 run against the spread on our highest confidence 5-unit bets. Yesterday, we were able to get the job done against the spread with Wichita State, USC, Rhode Island, UCLA, as well as South Carolina, and I had a lot of fun personally watching a lot of those games, especially that South Carolina game where on a somewhat home court advantage there for the Gamecocks, they were able to go ahead and pick up that really impressive upset win against Duke. A lot of exciting action that have been going down in the NCAA tournament first two rounds, which is the case every year. Unfortunately, not quite as many upsets as I typically like to see, but definitely getting a lot of value against the spread and having quite a bit of success. So hopefully we can continue and carry over that success that we've been having into some of these other tournaments like the NIT, CBI, and CIT as we get prepped for action that's going to be in the Sweet 16 later on in the week. So if you want more of this content, our daily free play, as well as all of our top confidence bets over at our main website across all major American sports, you can check out stumpthespread.com, and I'll throw a link to Stump the Spread down in the video description if you want to go check us out over there. In this video, I'm going to be touching on a handful of games, and a lot of the picks that I'm going to be making today are going to be predicated on how I see certain conferences match up against other conferences. You know, now that we're out of conference play, which is through January, February, and through the first part of March, now we're heading into postseason play, getting into the second, third round here. A lot of matchups where we're getting different leagues that go head-to-head, so a lot of it comes down to conference strength as these teams match up against each other, but got 5 games I'm going to be touching on in today's video. I'll throw those 5 games down in the video description if you're interested in what ones I'm going to be talking about. And if you want more of this pick video content in the future, you can click that subscribe button. Also, head on over to our channel to get our daily NBA play pick video as well. So heading into this one, first matchup I want to talk about is a matchup here between the MAC and the Sun Belt as Akron takes on Texas Arlington. These teams actually having similar years, both had a lot of success, both able to win their respective conference regular season titles, and both came up short in their conference postseason tournaments. I think Akron and Texas Arlington would have represented their leagues a bit better than Kent State and Texas State were able to do, or not Texas State, excuse me, Troy was able to do, but unfortunately for these two teams, they weren't able to get the job done in their respective conference tournaments. Akron, they have a great player at center with Isaiah Johnson. He is an absolute force down low, a very heavy-set guy who can really move his weight around effectively down there in the post. And for such a big guy, also pretty respectable free throw shooter as well as passer. When Akron's really playing at their best, they're feeding Johnson down in the post, and he's able to get his own shot at will, or if he gets doubled, he's able to find the open man, and that really helps Akron knock down a lot of three-pointers. It's a team that has a lot of guys that can shoot the three-point ball. In their first-round NIT game, Akron went on to pick up a nice upset win on the road against Houston. Texas Arlington, not quite the same kind of ceiling as Houston, but a solid team nonetheless. Going to be another difficult matchup here for the Zips. Texas Arlington, in their first-round matchup, they looked very impressive. They went on to convincingly beat BYU on the road, and BYU has a very solid home court advantage, so that was a great win there for Texas Arlington. And really, Texas Arlington showing quite nicely against the WCC this year, as Texas Arlington also has a double-digit win on the road against St. Mary's under their belt. So Texas Arlington, they brought back a lot of veteran talent this season, and this is a group that's generally played pretty well, but then every once in a while they just don't show up at all. For instance, like in their loss in their conference tournament, they were absolutely blown out by Texas State. And I also remember watching a game of them earlier in the year when they went on the road to Troy, and they were just absolutely blown out in that one as well. I'm not sure why Texas Arlington has these type of results every now and then, but this group not quite as consistent, or even in some of their losses being as competitive as you'd like them to see. I feel like this is going to be a very competitive matchup between two solid veteran teams, and I do think that Akron can keep things close here. Their defense is a little bit better than what BYU brings to the table, so Texas Arlington won't have quite as easy of a time finding their baskets today. So we're going to go ahead and side with the Akron Zips, getting the 5 points as the better bet against the spread. Moving down, there's a couple matchups here. CS Bakersfield and Colorado State, as well as UMKC versus Wyoming. Both of these match the WAC versus the Mountain West Conference, and as a whole, I value the Mountain West Conference significantly higher than the Western Athletic Conference. Western Athletic Conference used to be quite a solid basketball league, but back when we had that conference reshuffling about 5 or so years ago, the Western Athletic Conference was devastated and really only holding on to New Mexico State, who has really been reaping the benefits. New Mexico State has done a great job in being able to get into the NCAA tournament on a rather consistent basis, coming out of one of the weakest conferences in college basketball. But we have CS Bakersfield here going on the road against a Colorado State squad that was able to finish second in the Mountain West Conference this year and really showing great improvement throughout the regular season. And Colorado State has solid head coaching over there with Eustace. So we're going to go ahead and side with the Mountain West Conference in this one. And down here, UMKC. Right now, we have the question mark on Martez Harrison, but UMKC finishing more in the mid-tier of the WAC, as well as Wyoming finishing more in the mid-tier of the Mountain West Conference. But Wyoming looking solid in their opening round game. And, you know, Wyoming is another one of those teams that every once in a while puts up a stinker. If they're not able to hit their three-pointers, as this is an offense that really relies a lot on their three-point shot. But when hitting their threes, this is a group that can put up some big numbers on the offensive end, especially Wyoming under their current coaching staff. They had some changeover over the last year and definitely more of an up-tempo squad now. I like what Wyoming is doing right now with their recruiting, and this is certainly a team to keep an eye on in the future. I feel like behind their strong home court advantage, as well as their coming out of the Mountain West Conference here against a WAC opponent, we're going to go ahead and take the Mountain West team again in this one, giving the points as the better bet against the spread. All right, guys, just a couple more games I want to touch on, starting with George Washington versus Illinois Chicago. George Washington last offseason lost a lot of very important veteran players. I fully expected George Washington to take a step back this season as a result. That's happened. George Washington still has Tyler Cavanaugh, who's a very solid veteran forward, big man down low, get a lot of job done down in the paint area. But going on the road here, giving quite a few points against an Illinois-Chicago squad. If you remember last year, Illinois-Chicago was one of the worst teams in college basketball, but Illinois-Chicago has done some nice things with recruiting, and they've been much more competitive this year in the Horizon. Unfortunately for Illinois-Chicago, they've been without Dikembe Dixon for the better part of the last 3 months or so, and he was averaging about 20 points per game before going out. Illinois-Chicago has obviously had a lot of time to adapt without having Dixon in the lineup, and they still do have enough scoring threats where they can at least keep this one competitive. So we're going to go ahead and side with Illinois-Chicago, getting the 5.5 to 6 points as the better bet against the spread in this matchup. And just one more game I wanted to touch on here. We have Weber State against Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Weber State coming out of the Big Sky. They were competing right towards the top of their conference throughout the regular season. Came up short in the postseason as North Dakota continued to show progress over there in the Big Sky, and they were able to keep that going into the conference tournament as North Dakota went on to win that automatic bid. Weber State, obviously, a program that's pretty well known in the mid-major ranks. They turned out Damian Lillard into the NBA, and a program that's typically pretty solid over there in the Big Sky. A big one here is going to be Jeremy Senglin being able to go. If Senglin's in the game, that really is a huge boost to Weber State. Weber State looking solid in their tournament opener game. That one was on the road, and they're going on the road here again, going against Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Texas A&M Corpus Christi coming out of the Southland Conference, which is one of the weaker conferences in college basketball. They did finish second in their league, but in this one with Texas A&M Corpus Christi coming in as a pick'em, we do value Weber State quite a bit better than this Corpus Christi squad. So especially if Senglin's able to go, we feel like Weber State getting the pick'em right now is going to be the better bet to take them straight up. So those are the 5 games I want to touch on in today's video. Again, if you guys are interested in getting our daily free pick over at our main website, you can check that out. And we've been having a ton of success in college basketball over the last few days, going 15-2 against the spread on our top confidence 5-unit NCAA tournament picks. So if you want to access our highest confidence plays, you can go over to our main website and get a premium membership. And again, I'll throw a link to stumpthespread.com down in the video description if you're interested in checking us out over there. Also, if you want more of this pick video content in the future, you can click that subscribe button. So thanks guys for stopping on in today, and we'll see you in the next video. And you can also head over to see our daily NBA play of the day video if you want to see that as well. So thanks guys, and we'll see you then. Bye.